Here she is, as promised. The new Smith machine has been built and is ready for action. Today will be the first session that I will be using this brand new piece of equipment, and I have to say I feel very grateful to be able to afford this sort of stuff and to have this space in general, because it means a lot to me to pursue the thing that I love, the thing that I feel like I'm meant to, and having this space is truly a blessing in my eyes, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But brand new piece of equipment added to the blood box. There has been ongoing works throughout the blood box. There are some new boards that have been put up. You can't really tell because it's in black and white, but they have been blood splattered with the theme of the blood box, which I thought was quite a cool addition. But it won't show off very well for the camera, unfortunately, because black and white is just my style and how I go about things. Yeah, I just feel so grateful to have this space, and it's a place that's meant for training, that's meant for me to pursue what I love doing, and that is weight training, And even though it's quite a small space, it's the blood box, man. You don't need a lot, or I don't need a lot, and I just love what I have, and I will always work with what I've got. And I like to think that my content expresses that very well. Nonetheless, I am very excited for this session. I think it is session number 21. We'll most definitely be starting out with incline bench today, as that is one of my all-time favourite chest exercises, is Smith machine incline bench. Don't ask me why, it's just a preference thing, as is everything with training and weightlifting. Everything is subjective. It's personal to you, what feels good, how your body responds to certain exercises, what feels the best. But this is one of my favourite exercises, Smith machine incline, so I will be starting with that. We are about 2 weeks into the cut right now. I say cut, I do it really for sort of mental benefits rather than actual bodybuilding purposes, although I do think it is beneficial to trim down here and there and just keep a healthy cycle of growth and trimming down, because it keeps that motivation going. Like I said in the last video, when you have something to work towards, you have a purpose, that it provides a bit more motivation and helps you to achieve your goals more efficiently. But yeah, I won't be pushing this too heavy today, because hence the cut. It's going well. Like I said, I don't really trim down and bulk up for bodybuilding purposes. I just see it more so as a healthy cycle to keep in and out of, because dieting is hard, man. Dieting is way more of a mental game than it is physical. Although the physical side is very hard, the mental side is even tougher when it comes to dieting down, because you have to keep your intensity up, keep your exercise up. You still have to do everything you'd usually do in a normal day. Less amount of calories, borderline starvation, you're hungry all the time, tired. And it's just tough, man. Tough situations and tough life choices that you voluntarily enter are the ones where you learn the most and you grow the most. Because if you purposefully put yourself in a situation like that, like something that's as hard as dieting, and how hard it is, and you don't give in, you have a lot of self-denial within your mind to hold back on those instant gratification sort of things, like sweet treats and stuff like that. It just puts your mind in a very special place that not a lot of other things can do. The abstinence from food is one of the biggest things that will test your mental strength. So I like to keep a healthy cycle of that, because bulking's fun. Yeah, bulking's cool. Pushing a lot of food is a challenge as well, but nothing comes close to the mental clarity and character that you build when you're dieting. You have to sacrifice certain things, man, and a lot of that is going out, drinking, partying. eating certain foods that you enjoy, and so on and so on. And quite frankly, just putting your foot down and saying no to all of that, because you have a goal to achieve. You have something in your mind that you can see. Being able to do that and voluntarily put yourself in that situation is where you grow that mind, where you take your mind to that place where there is nothing else to do other than pursue the thing that you have told yourself that you have to do. But anyway, that was a bit of a long rant on the intro. Smith Machine Incline, I'm very excited for this session, very grateful. I always say very grateful because I live my life in a heightened state of gratitude, because I feel like no matter how big or small something is, you should always be grateful for it. And that is how I feel with this and this space in general. So, incline bench, warm up, and cut straight to a top set. Let's do it. Come on in! Come on! One more! Woo! Man, I've missed that. You know, when you don't know, you miss something until you try it for the first time again. Nothing more to say, but let's go again. So, let's go again. Come on! And again. One more. Woo! That's it, man. That's where it's at. I have to say, this Smith machine, if you know when I say that there is heavier ones and then there is lighter ones, this one is heavy, man. And by heavy, I mean when you drop that bar, it is going straight down. There is no counter force. You know, sometimes with Smith machines, when you chuck the bar up, it slowly comes down on a counter weight. It has like some sort of balance in it. It just comes right back down, and that means that it is pretty much the same weight as a bar, which I love, because the more that I can't ego lift, the more that I can focus on the muscle, you know. Like I say, don't train the bar, train the muscle. My training style is all about that, because you can train as hard as you like. If you're doing incorrect form with just stupid ego lifting weight and you're not focusing on that muscle, and your intention is to build muscle, then man, you're just not going to grow it, because you're training the bar. You're training the bar more than you're training the muscle. You're putting more stress and tension on the bar than you are on the muscle that you're targeting, and that is not what bodybuilding is about. It's not what training really is about in my eyes. It's about pushing your muscles and your mind to a place where it is almost impossible to get one more rep, but you go for it anyway. That is what I love about training. That is the main purpose that I find is getting to that sort of space. But everyone's different, man. Probably one more, but a back off set, because I don't want to I don't want to fry my chest too much on my nervous system, you know, because cutting down less calories, which means less time to recover, you know, not enough energy to replenish all that broken down tissue. So I'll probably do a back off set, and then I will move on to probably something tricep related. You know, I might chop back in between today, because sometimes that's just what feels good, and that's what you should do. So yeah, let's do it. One more back off set and then move on to something tricep. Let's do it. Mama. Woo! There it is. That's it. That's one thing that I always strive for in everything, is character, you know. Does what you do have character? Do you have character yourself? And that's what I like to do. Everything I do, I like to put as much character into it as possible, because that is what gives things life, is character. You know, character is something that you can feel as well, not just see. That's something that's very important to me. Hopefully that translates to my content as well. I like to be full of character in everything that I do. But that's besides the point. Let's move on to tricep movement. I'm still going to use this. I'm probably going to do either flat close grip bench or some sort of JM press, skull crusher. I don't know what. I'll see what feels good now, and we'll just cut to that. So let's do it. Woo! That also feels good. Let's go again. Woo! One more, and then move on again. Back to chest. Let's do it. Yep. Woo! Back to chest. Let's do it. Come on. Maybe a touch too heavy. That is the result of cutting. That's just the reality of dieting. You can't build strength, let alone retain it. It's hard to keep your strength where you've had it from bulking, but that's just the result of dieting. That's how it goes, man. Woo! Yeah, that was the right decision. Decided to keep that heavy set for one more and just do a drop set with the lighter dumbbells. It's a bit lower reps than I'd have liked, you know. 6/7 is probably the lowest I would go for a set. Felt good nonetheless. I'm gonna leave that as chest done. On a cut, when I'm cutting, I only tend to do 2 exercises per muscle group per session and borderline 2/3 sets per exercise. So that is what sessions will usually look like on a cut, if you're wondering what my framework sort of is around bulking/cutting exercises, movements, reps, sets, time. But yeah, that is it. I like to be efficient. You don't need a lot to you know, dieting is all about stimulating the muscle and just getting out and replenishing it enough to be able to maintain that muscle but lose that fat. I like to lift heavy but at a heavy weight that my muscles can manage, where I'm not overloading them, you know, because you're just going to fry your nervous system if you're ego lifting while you're dieting. That is just setting yourself up for failure. But that is my sort of approach to dieting down. I like to keep the weight decently heavy, you know, stimulate that muscle, give it something to realize that your body's actually using the muscle, you know, and to not give it a reason to waste away, in a sense. You know, keep that stimulation, keep it realizing that it needs to be able to stay there in order to allow your body to lift heavy weights. But move on to last exercise, tricep exercise. I'll probably do, man, I love the feel of that flat bench. It's sort of a flat bench slash I don't know, it feels so good on a Smith machine, man. I might just go back to that because I've been doing the easy bar sort of overhead and it's just playing with my elbows a bit, whereas that is all tricep. It's just stretch, contract. I'm gonna do 1 or 2 more sets of that and then call it a session because I don't want to fry my nervous system too much. You know, like I was saying in one of the other videos, is to keep the ball rolling, be efficient as you can, do what you need to do and move on. Achieve what you need to achieve. Don't overdo it. Don't overexpend your energy, because that is how you end up messing yourself up for other tasks that need a required amount of energy. And being able to distribute that to the best that you can will optimize your success in a sense. So let's follow after my thoughts and hit up some more sets of that. Let's do it. Woo! That could be it, because I don't want to fry my system too much, especially triceps, because they're heavily dominant in pressing movements, and when you have sore triceps, it makes pressing uncomfortable. You know, that's about it. That's what I'm happy with. Maintaining the muscle requires less overcompensation than it does than required to build muscle. Maintaining the muscle, all you want to do is stimulate it, give it a reason to believe that your body needs that muscle on your frame. Muscle is used to move weight from A to B, and if you give your body a reason to believe that it needs to maintain it to do heavy weight, then it will maintain that muscle given the right nutrition. You know, don't overcompensate, because like I said, like I keep iterating, you're just gonna fry yourself and fizzle your system out and not have enough energy to carry over to the following days and the following weeks, and you're just going to be self-sabotaging yourself when it comes to your training and really achieving the goal that you have set. Because that's the main thing, is that people can get so carried away with training and with their sessions that they forget about what they're aiming towards. And as often as you can keep that goal in your mind and keep working towards it day after day after day, because there's no point going absolutely ballistic on 1 or 2 sessions out of the week, and then the rest of the days you're just resting because your body's so in shock because you've just overtrained and overcompensated. That's just not the best way to go about it. You know, keep the ball rolling, keep yourself in a constant cycle day after day after day of an amount that is efficient, that will push you towards that goal that you've planted in your mind. But besides that, great session. That is it. I'm going to finish it there. I'm just in such a routine of trying to learn this whole social media thing and get a good grasp on what it's like to truly stick with something, because I truly believe that is the name of the game when it comes to content creation and being successful in that sort of industry and making a name for yourself and creating a brand, because that is all I really believe it is. It is just an amount of consistency with a lack of doubt. The lack of doubt in your mind that what you're doing and what you're posting has meaning, and that in the end it will find its people. And that is all I intend my stuff for, is that what I'm doing right now is all I've ever done. Nothing is different other than speaking to something that isn't a person. That's all that's different, because this is all I've ever done. This is all I've ever been about. I just think that sharing stuff like this has its purpose, because things like authenticity cannot be faked. You cannot fake when something is truly authentic, when someone really believes in what they're doing and their words, their actions, you know. All of that is besides the point. Very good session. Like I said, I'm very grateful to have this equipment and be able to afford this equipment and have this space. So like I said, I am getting a better grasp on this whole social media stuff, content creation. But I like it. It gives me purpose. It gives me something to do. You know, it's hard. It takes a lot out of you. It's a lot of effort, because especially if you're the only person doing it, like me, I'm the only one that's recording this, I'm the only one that's editing it. All these thoughts, all the things I talk about are things that I think of. I don't go online and look up things to talk about. All of this stuff is my mind and my body, and it's just translated through a camera. That is it, and that is how authentic I like my stuff to be. So let's keep it that way. But great session. Another one ticked off. Eventually, like I said, I will get some chalk and start tallying off the sessions so I can see and just have a little cool feature on the wall. But that is it for this one. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up, and until the next one, that's it.